Sigma is mysterious. That origin story is oh so amazing, and some of his backstory and character design is left unknown to the players of Overwatch. Today, I've taken a deep dive into the lore, backstory, history, development, design, and way more of Sigma. Here's 10 things that you probably didn't know about Sigma. My name is Nate, and welcome to Blizzard Guides. I spent a lot of time searching for each item in this list. I'm almost 100% sure that you haven't heard of a lot on this list, even if you think that you're an aficionado of the Overwatch history, both the in-game history and the real-life development history. This list is in no particular order, but I'm pretty sure that you're going to be surprised by a lot of them. Let's get into this video. Coming in at number 10, some of Sigma's most iconic abilities are actually recycled Doomfist abilities. While I know this totally sounds crazy, I found this video from a San Diego Comic-Con panel in 2017 where they looked into the development of Doomfist and the behind the scenes. In this video, which mind you was not supposed to be filmed by anybody, they demo two abilities from Doomfist that might look a little familiar to you.
I think we need to stop and appreciate this. So yeah, again, it was like, oh, it's cool. You can throw big rocks at her and kind of shoot her out of the air and stuff like that.
Throwing rocks? Small orb projectiles that deal burst damage? Yeah, that's right, it's Sigma's kit. These abilities date back all the way to the first Winter Wonderland event in 2016, so it's crazy to think that a hero's kit was designed nearly 3 years in advance. If you do actually already know this one, you must have a compendium of knowledge when it comes to Overwatch, of which I applaud you because I'm very, very surprised that you know this one. At number 9, a little something about that melody. See, while Blizzard composes their own music in-house, this particular track was composed by Derek Duke, you can actually tell that this is heavily inspired by a man named Eric Satie, who composed a piece which I'm sorry, I'm gonna try and pronounce this, but it's way too hard for me to say. It's Geniosei? Number 1, I don't know the pronunciation, but there's two very crazy things that you should know about this piece. First, which you may have already heard about, is that this piece composed by Eric Satie is well known for being in free time, which means that there's no time signatures or bar divisions in the song, which is interesting considering that the whole idea of a black hole is that it warps not only space, but time as well, and is an integral part of Sigma's backstory, and time travel is something that might be explored by Overwatch considering Tracer exists. Now, yeah, whatever, that might seem like a nice detail to the song and quite well fitting, and it's a cool detail, but whatever. Well, there's actually a little something else that I discovered recently about this Blizzard version, which has an even deeper level of inspiration that is actually quite genius and impressive. At number 8, throughout the entirety of the Blizzard composed piece, you can hear a very low B note. It's subtle, but it's there. And while that might not seem significant to most people, it reminded me of a specific finding that I read a long time ago about black holes. See, while the phrase goes, "In space, nobody can hear you scream," it turns out that black holes can and do produce sound. Obviously, it's not screaming. That would just be horrifying if black holes could scream, but they do produce a single sound in space. And you might actually see where I'm going with this. It actually turns out that a specific black hole in the Perseus cluster emits a B flat, 57 octaves below middle C. So that melody that drives Sigma mad and the universe itself emit a very, very important B note. It's pretty crazy. I'm just impressed that Blizzard even fit this in there. It's really, really quite smart. Moving along and talking about the lore a little bit more, as it turns out, Sigma likely has ties to the company in charge of Lijiang Tower, Lucheng Interstellar, which means that he probably has ties to Horizon Lunar Colony, which means that he very well might have ties to Hammond and Winston. Here's proof. For one, the space station that he likely performed his catastrophic experiment on exists as a hologram right here, in Lijiang Control Center, and hey, that's controlled by Lucheng Interstellar. And hey, what do you know, right here, there's also a critical failure, which kinda looks like that backdrop to the origin story for Sigma. Secondly, there's this voice line he has when returning to Horizon Lunar Colony, which is, just proof that he's been to Horizon Lunar Colony.
I never thought I'd be back here. It's beautiful. And cold.
Now, I'll admit this doesn't really have many implications for Overwatch, but it's pretty neat to know that Sigma went to space with the help of the company that likely helped our favorite scientist monkey. Coming in at number 6, if you take a look at the Overwatch Heroes page and go over to that Sigma tab, you can see right here, there at the bottom, it reads, Dick Kuiper, I'm sorry if I butchered his name, continues to develop his powers in hopes of unlocking the secrets of the universe, unaware that Talon is using both him and his research. And if you take a look at the hero blurb in the hero gallery, it says, now Talon manipulates him to their own ends. So hey, in case you didn't know, Sigma, he's working with Talon, but he has no idea that he's working for a faction that is just straight up using him as a weapon and controlling him and stealing his research. Maybe I theorize that the music is a way to control him and maybe he doesn't know, or actually maybe he is aware that Talon is using him as a weapon. Maybe those pieces on his head are a way to control him. Here's why. At number 5, if you play the trailer in reverse, you can hear him say, hold it together and release me.
Release me! Hold it together.
Most notably, right at the end of the trailer in the regular way to play it, he says release me backwards, which you can only hear by playing the trailer in reverse, which is right where it shows all of the Talon members. Actually, if you play the whole video in reverse, it actually makes a lot more sense in terms of the order of the clips and everything, and it seems like he begins to harness his powers and go from being experiment, accident, crazy man Sigma to gravity harness, I'm going to kill everybody with my cool powers Sigma, which is completed by that little hypersphere at the end coming closed, which signifies, the end of the story. Playing the trailer in the correct way, it shows his descent into madness. This is a detail that is all too perfect to be a coincidence, and I'm sure that the people who created this short intended it to be this way to let us know that, hey, Sigma realizes what's going on and he's trying to hold it together and get into control. At number 4, there's this spray showing the damage to Sigma after he was treated by the government facility that supposedly hit him before Talon broke in and stole him from that government facility. It's unnamed. While it may just look like a brain scan that you see in movies, if you actually take a good look at this, you might recognize this to be a bit of something else. Take a look at the recent image of the first ever image of a black hole, and hey, what do you know? That looks kind of familiar. So does that mean that Sigma's brain is a black hole? Well, taking a look at this spray called Cerebral, maybe not, but looking at Sigma's ultimate ability and his default skin, well, it appears to show that he does not have a regular brain because you can see a blue glowing thing from the back of his head, and that it glows whenever he's controlling gravity with his ultimate. So it's more than likely that those hyperspheres aren't really the true harness that Sigma supposedly created to control gravity. No, it's actually Sigma himself. Sigma is the harness to gravity, which would actually explain a lot about his kit and himself. At number 3, Sigma's abilities are a rival to Zarya's. If you take a look at Heroes of the Storm, there's a Zarya skin which has a blurb talking about the Tobelstein, which is Zarya's reactor on his gun, and something called a gravitic harness, being the better, more powerful version that's supposedly on its way. And there's only one person who loves talking about harnesses, which leads me to believe that Sigma's basically a competitor to the people that designed Zarya's Tobelstein, whether that's Volskaya Industries or some group called the Tobelsteins, which would be implied by this interaction when Zarya is killed by Sigma.
The Tobelstein's work remains flawed. Tragic.
All in all, this is an interesting part of the lore that I had no idea that could very well be very telling in the future. Maybe when that Overwatch 2 drops with all of that story mode goodness that's apparently coming, we'll hear more about this, but it's a good thing to note about because this was predicted a very long time ago and is pretty much an integral part of the Overwatch lore if that blurb from Heroes of the Storm has any sort of grounding whatsoever. At number 2, not necessarily about Sigma, but more about his voice actor, Boris Heidlas. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong. Apparently, this guy is a pretty talented guy considering the fact that he worked as an animator in Guardians of the Galaxy and Harry Potter. He's directed his own TV series, done a lot of animation work, and many other things. He's a very talented voice actor, so I was surprised to hear that I haven't seen him in many other games that I've played or shows that I've watched when there are voice actors like Reinhardt's or Reapers who have been in a ton of really impressive things. I hope to hear more of Boris's work in the future, considering that his work for Sigma is just absolutely incredible and a total masterpiece. And finally, at number 1, putting that good voice acting to work, Sigma can karaoke. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, baby. Come on. Come on now. Get down with Sigma tonight. Like a stroopwafel.
But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I spent a lot of time researching all those things, but I didn't take that whole week. I haven't really uploaded that much content this past week. I'm sorry about that. I've just been busy with getting prepared for university, and I did also go on a trip, which was really nice. But basically, I will be back to my normal schedule, hopefully this week that's coming. I really want to get a lot of content out for Roll Q and Sigma because it's super interesting and really cool stuff, and I'm finally enjoying the competitive game again with Roll Q, and I hope you guys do too. So I'll have a ton of guides about that out in the future, but I just wanted to let those people that are looking out for my uploads know that I'm not dead, I'm not gone, I'm just taking a short 1 week break, which I just finished today, I guess, because you're watching this video. But aside from that, make sure that you get followed to our Twitter and Instagram in the links in the description right below that like button, and a big super special thanks to our Discord Nitro boosters who used their Nitro perks to be able to boost our Discord server so that we got a bunch of cool perks that you guys can see on our server if you join it. But that's pretty much all I have to say. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Have a nice day. My name is Nate, and this was Blizzard Guides.